Welcome back to Brownlow Books, where I am doing my year-end wrap-up over probably about 3 videos. So, today I want to tell you about my best and my worst reads of the year. So, you can see my pile over there. Whoops. Okay, best of the year. Best of the year. We're going to start off. I want to say these are in no particular order, but the two I'm about to tell you about are definitely, like, both contenders for number one that I don't think I could actually pick which one I actually like more and what I put at number one. If someone was like, your number one book of the year, I'd be like, I don't fucking know. Whiskey When We're Dry, John Larison. The whole Western everything turned up with, like, a girl pretending to be a boy to find her outlaw brother to save the farm and just straying so far from that. Like, I loved this book so much. The sapphic love, that's kind of, like, toxic as fuck, but, like, still love it. The fact that she's, pretending to be a boy so that she can, like, go out there and find her outlaw brother who's actually just, like, this weird religious Christian guy. And then, like, just how it's broken up, all the different things that just kind of, like, work together to end up in this place where you're like, this is kind of the natural conclusion to this story, even though it's not the happy ending that we probably all wanted. I loved it. I loved it so much. I asked for recommendations like this book in another group, and, like, people could not give me. I'm like, this is such a unique and wonderful book. And the fact that it's a girl written by a man and I don't hate her is just, like, phenomenal, because that's a thing that usually happens. It's so good. It's because it's not your traditional Western. I'm usually not into Westerns, you're like Cormac McCarthy, blood, guts, Indians kind of thing, where you're just like, no, this is gross. This is gross that you're doing this. I did not get that with this. Like, she goes through so much and so many things happen, and then she's, like, dealing with herself, like, oh my god, is this really even what I should be doing? And then everyone else hiding secrets, and she knows there's, and it's just, oh my god, I love it. And I doubt I will ever find a Western that will live up to this, because I've asked for recommendations for Westerns, like, untraditional, because, girl who's not a prostitute or madam. And, yeah, I didn't get good recommendations from it. So, my number two, also contending for number one, I would not be able to choose. It's Greenwood. Michael Christie. This was a Canada Reads book. I already had it on my shelf, so, like, obviously I was interested in it. Canada Reads 2023 is what kicked me into gear to actually read it. I love it. I love a family revolving around trees. I love that the side of this looks like a fucking tree. I love that the layout works itself like tree rings from, like, newest through to the oldest timeline and then back out the other side like a fucking tree ring. I don't love it's not modern, the future timeline that, like, bookends the story. I like all of the kind of historical fiction between that. From the 70s back to, like, was it, like, 1904 or something? I love that. I love Liam. Not young Liam, old Liam. I love Temple Van Horn of Estevan, Saskatchewan. I don't think I've loved someone in a book as much as I've ever loved her. It, like, caught me so off guard. I was just, like, ready to be like, yeah, I'm reading this book. And then just, like, to find a fictional person I would like, willingly die for. It was just, like, weird. So, yes. Greenwood. Absolutely fucking amazing. Thanks, Canada Reads, for getting me to read it sooner. Like, alright. The next, in no particular order. Yeah, no particular order. Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. Forgot who did it for a second there. I loved this book. Right up to the last page when I didn't like the book. But yeah, like, losing this pile of books. The like dark romance, like gothic swamp thing. I was just like, I love this. Like Preacher's Daughter with like the town bad boy who people are literally like, he's the son of the devil. Yes. Her little life that she's like carving out for herself, and then like he just kind of comes in and out of it all the time. She's a librarian. Just the southernness of it. I was just, the surprises. I loved her. I've never read Twilight. I will never read Twilight. I have seen one Twilight movie. It was enough. Despite her love of Twilight, I was just like, oh, that's gonna be fucking weird. The way it played out, I loved it. She's like, oh, are you a vampire? And he's like, the fuck are you talking about? One of my favorite moments where he's just like, what are you... You're reading too much. I was just like, yeah, girl, you are, because it's Twilight. So yeah, that was actually an arc sent to me too. And like, for me to love an arc is like unusual. Let's just say they're not all winners, okay? Next one. Happiness for Beginners, Catherine Center. I watched the movie first. I loved the movie. I like, literally, when I was done the movie, seconds, like, started reading the book. I was like, I love that movie. I gotta. They're different. They're different, obviously. I do love the movie more than I love the book. Yes. But the book was just still really lovely and, like, included some extra things that just made it a little bit, you know, it's different from the movie, but still good in its own right. And I really enjoyed it because it's, like, the backwoods, you know, woman getting her stuff together, and, like, Helen is prickly, I say, in that she's not, you know, always trying to be perfect for everyone around her and, like, being the good girl. And she's like, she's kind of like, what are you, like, come on. Like, she's not being a fucking bitch. But she's not putting on that nice pretty girl thing that some people would have, you know? So I really liked that. Oh, my stack's gonna fall over here. Whoa, shiny. Bad Cree, Jessica Johns. I really appreciated this, not for the fact that it's a horror book, because it is horror, and, like, apparently I was in my horror era this year. I've read a lot of dark things. Anyways, I really appreciate this for, like, the relationship between all of the women, and the women who, like, come together, and they're like, we gotta get this thing done, you know? I appreciate it for that, and, like, the way that we see Mac working through her grief. And, like, how the grief affected the family. Because the family's all together and she's kind of on her own, separated, right? And so, like, the way that she came back with them and, like, worked through her grief, and they're all working through their grief in, like, different ways. I just really liked how that all worked out. And the fact that it was a horror made it so unusual to me that, like, that was kind of the main focus. It is much more of a slow burn horror. But I really liked it. I did not expect to, like it the way that I liked it. I just had to be like, okay, I read a horror book and I was fine. You know? But yeah, it worked out, and I really appreciate it. And it's on the Canada Reads 2024 long list now, and I'm like, you could put it on the short list and I wouldn't be angry with that. Alright, so that's my, like, regular fiction favorites of the year. I read a lot of middle grade, you know this. I do middle grade May. I read middle grade outside of that sometimes. Attack of the Black Rectangles, Amy Sarah King. I loved this book. I was expecting, like, an Answers in the Pages kind of book, or a Ban This Book kind of book. It's something else entirely. It's the same kind of idea of, like, someone is censoring books, but they're not banning the books, they're censoring the books. And it's the teacher. And just the way that, like, I don't even remember his name now. The way that he is with his friends and his family, and, like, it's a story about so much more, and, like, it's not even really, like, a coming of age either. Like, it probably classed as one, but at the same time, it's just kind of, like, it's just about learning about the world without, like, having something that's happening to you being, like, the main thing that you're learning about. I don't know how to describe it even. How do I describe this? he learns about all these kind of things around him, his friends, his family, and he works with them, and like, he just learning as you go. That's how life is. You learn as you go. So this was absolutely runaway my 100% favorite middle grade of the year. 100%. No questions. Alright. I have some nonfiction that I love too, because I do read some nonfiction. It's Rainbow History Class! Your Guide Through Queer and Trans History by Hannah McElhenney. I can never say it. I love it. It was just laid out so well. It's colorful. It's to the point. It's just came together beautifully from a fucking Instagram profile. Like, if you don't follow Rainbow History Class on Instagram and you call yourself a queer ally, you should go follow Rainbow History Class on Instagram. I loved it. I made my friend give this back to me so it could be in the video. So, I loved it. The illustrations are delightful. It just works so well together for, like, a primer into history. A specific kind of history. Alright. My next favorite of the year. This behemoth! Ducks, 2 Years in the Oil Sands, Kate Beaton. So this is a graphic novel, but it's not a novel, it's a memoir. Yeah, it's a memoir. It was in Canada Reads 2023, and it won. Which is just like, I read it before it was even on the Canada Reads list, because I was like, everyone's kind of talking about this, I feel like I should check it out. And I did, and I was just like, blown away by it. I was like, this is, I read memoirs, I read graphic novels, shoving them together. I've read some already before, and I was like, yes, these are fine. The way Kate does hers is kind of amazing. Like, first of all, it's massive. But, like, the way it's focused in 2 years on the oil sands, the things that happen to her, those black pages. The black pages. The way it's laid out is just wonderful, and, like, I love the little, like, cast of characters she puts at the beginning of each section, and it's just so unique. It just feels so unique and different from what you would get otherwise. And it won Canada Reads, which is just, like, fucking amazing on its own. So, like, this barrier crossing thing that, like, all of Canada should read, like, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, there is a honorable mention of my favorites. The Darkness Surrounds Us by Gail Lukasik. It's not in front of me. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I'm wondering if I gave it to friends and forgot. But yeah, I really love that. Again, it was an ARC that I received, and like I said, it's not always liking the ARCs you receive. Some have been really, really bad. Other honorable mention, Hotline. I enjoyed Hotline a lot. It was Canada Reads, so, like, it was not on my radar otherwise. It was a surprise hit for me, but, like, I loved it while I was reading it. I was so happy when I was reading it. And then the more it sat with me, the more I was kind of like... And there'll be another video about that. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I loved the writing style. Like, it worked for me, and then one day it suddenly didn't. And there'll be another video about that. So yeah, those were my best of the year. My worst of the year, it's kind of been a mediocre reading year for me, I'm not gonna lie. Other than what I've shown you here, I didn't really love anything. I've read about, at this point, 48 books this year. A fair amount of graphic novels from a series, so, like, and some other nonfiction, which I just didn't want to tell you about. And, I don't know, I was just disappointed by a lot of what I read. And, like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, you know? We were just kind of like, okay, I've read it. I'm not upset that I've read it. Side-eyes the single book on her worst reads of the year list. I don't know. It feels like it's been a mediocre year for me, but again, there'll be another video for that. So, the only book I'm actually putting on my worst of the year list is Dipper Alexander's Eye of the Storm. I'm just gonna let you go find the video for that, because I cannot fucking go over again why I hate this. I will only mention that it's supposed to be a storm chaser contemporary romance, but they're using hurricane terms for tornadoes and clearly don't understand the difference. And the whole fucking reason I am reading it is because I wanted the storm chasing of it. Now, this book, I have been informed, has been rewritten in 2023. I read it like January 2nd. Okay? So it's been rewritten, apparently. And someone told me this right around the time that Stuff Your Kindle happened. And it was included. So I have, the new rewritten, updated version of this on my tablet. And I'm not going to say that I'm definitely going to read it this year, but I'm probably going to read it this year to compare and contrast and see if she's understood the difference between tornadoes and hurricanes now. Because holy fucking shit, how do you write a fucking storm chaser romance not knowing the difference? Okay, we're not getting into that. I do want you to join me tomorrow and the day after, because I will have some surprises of the year, and I'm going to do a general wrap up and what to look forward to next year. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more.